Coach, you want to start off with about Shiloh. You mentioned this after the Kennesaw State game. You likened him and his play to Danny Granger, who you coached at New Mexico. And what have you seen out of his development this year that led you to likening him to how Granger played for you at NM?
Yeah, when I made that comparison, it wasn't to the Danny Granger that played 13 some odd years in the NBA, because Danny continued to develop and grow as a player. But when we got him at New Mexico, he was a terrific athlete, average to below average shooter. Now, if he hears this, he'll call me and then say, "Hey, what are you talking about?" But he was a really good defender. And all the teams that I had talked to leading up to the draft said that he had something special in the defensive end, and I think the same is true for Shiloh Robinson. He is legitimately an elite defender. And having been at Virginia, I think I can say that with a little bit of credibility because of how many good defenders I've seen come through that program. And then his commitment and dedication to his offensive improvement has been terrific. So I think the sky's the limit for Shiloh. I think he continues to develop and emerge as a player individually. But when you have guys like he or Darius McGee or Kyle Rode or those before him, Caleb Holmesley, Scotty James, Mile Baxter-Bell, that really care about winning more so than just their individual shine, I think you got a decent program evolving.
John?
Coach, do you have a NBA comparison for every player on your roster?
I like to NBA comp, yes. I watch a lot of basketball. Unfortunately, it's a hobby. It's my only hobby. I'm often criticized and even suggested that I need other hobbies. But, so yeah, the answer to that question is pretty much.
Okay, that wasn't my real question. I wanted to ask about Lipscomb. You got the Bisons coming in tomorrow night. We're all familiar with them over the past few years and this little bit of a rivalry going on. But Asana Sajila is a guy that, at this level, it's rare to have a big man with the talent level that he possesses. Is that something that you see, and are they using him in the same way they've used him the past couple years?
Yeah, John, first of all, hats off that you called them the Bisons, because it is plural, the way Lipscomb distinguishes their nickname. Emily, I'm sure, did not know that. But yeah, Sajila, he's in the top 3 last year in terms of usage rate. I don't know what his numbers are, but they play through Hassan, and rightfully so. Not only is he a very prolific and efficient scorer around the basket, he is an elite passer. And you can't play him one way, like you can't bring a double team every time. You can't play him one-on-one consistently. You've got to try and dilute his effectiveness, because there's nothing you can do to take him away. He's that good of a player. And Lenny Acuff is one of the best offensive coaches, if not the best in the country. Not saying that he's not one of the best coaches in the country. So Lipscomb is way better than their record. I said this on our radio show. Lipscomb, EKU, those are 2 of the teams that are better than what the eye indicates, because they've yet to play with their full complement of personnel. So this ASUN tournament, when we get there, will be incredibly competitive, because there's going to be some 4, 5, and 6 seeds that are going to beat some people because of how talented they are and how well coached.
Matt?
Yeah, Joseph Van Zandt, when you think about some of the great perimeter defenders you guys have had, like Cabell, Cuffey, where in his development is he tracking towards that? Where is he further along than those guys? Where kind of compare him maybe to some of those great perimeter defenders you've had in their freshman year?
Yeah, no doubt. I think the longer you're in the system, the better you get at it, and his competitive desire to be great is tremendous. He's got a willingness and an ownership on the defensive end that I think far exceeds any freshman that I've seen in this defensive system since I've been in the system. So that'll tell you how much I think of him. Now, with Lavelle and Cuff, to individually compare them, like they had different circumstances that I think Lavelle just got unbelievably free minutes because we were just trying to get competitive. But to Lavelle's credit, he became a terrific on-ball defender and even off-ball. And then Cuff, similar to Joseph, but Cuff inherited a group or joined a group that was very veteran, especially in the backcourt. So I think because his role was more 3-and-D and Joseph's is a little bit of everything, I think Cuff benefited from having a little bit more around him. No disrespect to what Joseph has around him. We're just a different team. So yeah, I love where he's going, Matt. I think he's a future all-conference player.
Ed?
Coach, at the halftime of the Jacksonville game, or Jacksonville State, you mentioned that type of adversity can be good for you. Obviously, that didn't turn out the way you wanted, but you've won 3 in a row on the road since then, and you played 4 games in an 8-day stretch. Is this team in a better spot now just from going through that adversity than they were a couple of weeks ago?
Ed, I think you're referencing the halftime interview. I think I said to Emily, we want it to be hard. Like I think we're naive to think that you can win in the postseason, especially if you've created expectations and think it's going to be easy. I mean, just look around college basketball. It's really hard to win a college basketball game. So if you're fortunate enough to advance to postseason and you get a chance to throw it up, like if your group's not prepared for how difficult those 40 minutes are, you got no chance. I watched the Houston-Cincinnati game yesterday, and Houston jumped on them 18-2. And Houston's going to be a 1, 2, or 3 seed. Like that group is unbelievable. So I just think, sure, I want to win every single game, but I do think having it be really competitive in the run-up of an ASUN tournament, I think is healthy. So anytime you're in those competitive environments, your team has a chance to grow. And to answer your question, yes, I think we're growing, but I think we are not yet the best version of ourselves.
Dave?
Hey, Coach, great to see you. Keegan Powell, I think, had his probably most complete performance of the season against EKU, and watching him, not just statistically, but he had the 8 assists, and he looked probably, to me, the most confident on the court I've seen him all season long. Powerful baseline drives, dishing the ball up. It was like everything clicked for him that night. How have you seen his development, especially since he returned from his pause against Jacksonville State? It seems like he's been on an upward trend over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, Dave, thanks for the question. I think, Keegan didn't practice he didn't practice. He played the Jacksonville State game, was his first day out of protocol. So for him to do what he did in the road trip just speaks to his commitment to it. And anything that, you'll laugh at me when I say this, or maybe you won't, anything that Keegan does on the floor for us is only icing on the cake. I mean that sincerely. Having done this as long as I have, you just don't get guys who are as terrific as leaders as he and Kyle Rote are. They are once in a generation. I mean that. So the fact that it's gone in at a 40-some-odd% clip from 3, and he's taking care of the ball, he's defending better, all that's a bonus. And I hope he continues to do that because it just makes our team better. But, I mean, I've loved having him in our family. Thankful that we got to get through a tough time relationally and see how much better and how much closer we are as a group and as a player and a coach.
Miss Austin?
Coach, 18 turnovers on Saturday. How concerned are you with turnovers and your guys taking care of the ball?
Yeah, I'm not. Eastern Kentucky turned you over. I think that was one above their season average. And the way the game went, we're not usually a 90-point scoring team, but they play a tempo that if you don't take what they give you, you're going to turn it over more. So I'm usually very concerned when we're over 10, 11 turnovers. But that game, I thought, fifth game, 10 days, playing against a different style, not having had a chance to practice it. I felt like our guys did a really good job, especially in the first half, but finishing the game. The minutes were really high in the Bellarmine Eastern Kentucky games. So sorry if I disappointed you with my answer, but
I don't want you to be concerned, Coach. I want you to have it all together. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dave?
Switching gears back to Lipscomb, and hopefully I'm not going to butcher this guy's last name, but the Valpo transfer, Jacob Ognjestevich.
You butchered it.
Yeah.
You butchered it.
Sorry?
You butchered it.
Yes, I did. I know I did. I don't see a pronunciation guide on here, but his usage rate is really high. I know he doesn't average the points of Asagila, but a 6'8" guy that can stretch the floor and rebounds well, and a COVID freshman. How much has he helped with that offense, especially in the high-low settings that they have with Asagila, either on the block or free throw line?
Yeah, I love him. Dame, it's a really astute eval from you because he's a terrific player. Now, I think here's what Coach Acuff's dilemma has been. You play one way with Hassan Asagila, and you play that way in the summer, in the preseason. Once the season starts, then he has to go down with an injury. And now what do? Do you play a whole different way? And I think they've got two really good forwards in the aforementioned. I'm not going to try to butcher his name or to pronounce it because I know I'll butcher it. And Parker Hazen. Like those two players really help their cause. And when you surround them with the shooting that they do, dangerous. So I have a ton of respect for Coach Acuff and the Bison. So I'm very concerned going in that we got to make sure we're the best version of ourselves because they'll be a tough out.
Johnny?
Kind of piggybacking off of Emily's question there a moment ago, I think it's fair to say you don't really have a true point guard that's part of your everyday rotation. I know DJ gets in there some, but that's kind of how it's been most of the season. I guess a couple questions, because this is a lot different team than what you've had in the past. I mean, obviously you had Georgie there the first 4 years, and then Chris Parker stepped in last year as a veteran. So it's different for you to have a team that doesn't have a true point guard on the floor. How do you feel that's changed your team this year, and how do you feel the other guys like Darius and Kyle and others have stepped into that role of being a primary ball handler?
Yeah, Darius has done a phenomenal job, and I actually think it's helped us offensively because Darius gets the ball, he gets to touch the ball more. And then I think we've got steady guys that flank Darius and Kyle, and Keegan, Joseph, Isaiah, even Micaiah. Micaiah's got guard skills. So I thought Drake was going to be that, and obviously Drake transferred, so we don't have that option anymore, and Brody's getting better. I don't know if it's a concern of mine as much as it is. It was an unintended consequence that Darius kind of took over, and he's done a phenomenal job to defend the way we asked Darius to defend, as well as lean on him for our points and creation of points for others. He's having a Player of the Year / All-American candidacy type of year. But we are a by-committee group, so I just think it's kind of evolved. And I don't know what our offensive numbers are. I'm sure Dame does. But I'm not so sure they're not as high as they've ever been since we've been here. So I think we're doing okay. But we'll see if we can't keep improving and even trying to finish stronger than we have.
M?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to put my hand down. My arm's killing me. Sorry.
Matt, anyone else? Are you guys?
Yeah, Coach, and you may have mentioned this to somebody after the EKU game, and I may have missed it. I know it was, I think, career or at least season low minutes for Blake. You bragged on him all season long about how much of a leader he is and how much you trust him. The matchup, was that kind of the thing there? Or do we expect to see more of a role from him going against the Bigs of Lipscomb on Tuesday?
Yeah, so most of the game, Eastern Kentucky played Moreno at the 5. And you guys, don't get me wrong. Like, I want to keep all of our players, develop them all, help them pursue and attain all of their dreams and aspirations, but I want to win the game more. So whatever it takes at the given moment, like Brody Peebles has been fabulous for us, and he probably played as few of minutes as he has, because Isaiah was playing great. And again, that's the beauty, I think, of this team, is that guys can take a low-minute output like that, not get too indicted by it, and then come back and be ready to perform the next night out. Like, I wish we could evenly distribute the 200 minutes to equal what everybody wants, including parents, but that's not possible. And I'm unconcerned with it. Like, again, I think this is a get to, not a have to. You earn your minutes in practice and in performance in the games, and you know, if you wait, I think it could benefit you, and if you can't wait, I understand. But Blake will be big in his matchup with Asajala. So, yeah, I anticipate playing him more, and I know when he does play, he positively affects us. Sometimes I'll try and have coaches match up with us, but sometimes we need to match up with them in a given game.